Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. And we'll be looking at a very interesting topic, preparing employees for mergers, acquisitions, ownership change, and major organizational restructuring. Our facilitator for today is no other person than Mr. Anthony Agbeyika, and he is a senior executive human resource officer with Dawa Technology and Co. Limited, West Africa. He is not a stranger to this platform. He has been instrumental to sharing, transferring knowledge with us in the past, and it is with warmth and appreciation that we have him grace this platform graciously again today. Mr. Anthony, we are ready if you are good to go. Welcome once again.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Oluyemi, for that brief introduction. Thank you for this great opportunity again for me to be here. Thank you, everybody who has joined this session. Thank you for your time. Most especially, I want to thank Folake Murakiyo. I've been told that you have been waiting since 7 p.m. That is great. For some of us who are joining us for the first time being HR Mentorship Learning Series, we would love to see more of you. Don't be a stranger. This is a platform that has been created by Mr. Oluyemi for us to gain knowledge and also to network. And if you are regular participants, we want to thank you also for continuous participation. Like Mr. Oluyemi have already said, we'll be looking at in our today's knowledge sharing session, we'll be looking at preparing employee for mergers, acquisitions, ownership change, and major organizational restructuring. For some of us, we may have participated in merger process or acquisition. Would have been a company where someone acquired the company or another company merged with the company we were. There was ownership change, and obviously where there is a merger and also there is acquisition, where there is ownership change, there's always a major restructuring, especially that company that want to progress to the next level. For every business, the purpose of every businessman to acquire a business is to make profit, to create synergy, that will operational synergy and also financial synergy. This is the primary purpose why companies put resources together for market reach, to become bigger and all that. To lay this foundation, we'll be looking at what really merger is, what is acquisition, ownership change, and major organizational restructuring. Why should an employee be bothered that someone wants to acquire a company, for instance? Before we start, I would like to give us a story of a young man who had an interest in a viable company that he saw that he wanted to invest in. By having interest, he developed a strategy of acquiring that company. Firstly, he invested in their shares, and he became a shareholder by starting with 5% stock. From 5%, he increased it to 9.5%. From 9.5%, he increased to 25% shares. From 25%, he increased his stake to 65%. And today, that has become an history. He has acquired that company. It's a company that all of us are majorly aware of, and that is Elon Musk with Twitter. Elon Musk's strategy was to acquire Twitter to make it a larger platform for freedom of speech. However, ordinarily, why should people be concerned that Elon Musk was having interest in purchasing Twitter? However, he has achieved his aim, but today, as I speak to you, the half of Twitter employee at its way are no longer with Twitter. They have been laid off because of that singular decision that was taken by someone. So why should an employee ordinarily be bothered that someone wants to acquire a company, or somebody want to merge, another company want to merge with another company, right? So this is what basically we'll be talking about.
Hello, Mr. Anthony, just 1 minute, sir. You may want to put this slide on full screen.
So
Thank you.
that is what we'll be looking at today. Why should employee be bothered that somebody want to acquire their company or there is a merger? So for every merger, there are people that are affected, either positive or negative. What should employee, that is where preparation comes in. What is employees do to become part of the positive side and not the negative side? And the negative side is that people will be laid off. What should people do to ensure their skill are required to the new owners of that business? We start with the introduction. A merger is a business transaction where two or more companies combine their operational assets and resources to form a single larger company. In a merger, two or more companies come together to create a new entity that can be more competitive, efficient, and profitable than they were as a separate entity. So like merger, for instance, there's a streamline between merger and acquisition and ownership change. However, the issue is that there is always somebody coming in. There may be a restructuring that needs to be take place. For a merger, for instance, is about two companies coming together who have the same vision, who might necessarily not have the same vision because there are different types of merger. You have vertical, we have organizational, vertical, horizontal, product merger, and all that. For that merger or people of like mind, for instance, for vertical merger, for instance, is like MTN interested in buying Lafarge company, for instance. They are not in the same industry. One produces cement, one is in the manufacturing industry that produces cement, another one is in telecom. But if MTN, for instance, decide to say, okay, I want to purchase Lafarge company as it's where, the staff there might not necessarily be affected because it is going to be a conglomerate. Being a conglomerate means that in one set of the company as a whole, as a parent company, we have different divisions. And that means that MTA as a whole will now be having a Lafarge company as a division on its own. Because of the service they provide and the people, the employee, the skills they require to perform their job are different, people may necessarily not be laid off, or people will necessarily many employees will not be affected. However, when there is a horizontal acquisition or a horizontal merger, for instance, like say MTN acquire Globe, definitely many people will be affected because there will be redundancy. Maybe redundancy in the area of people having the same skill, performing the same job function, the same responsibility and all that. While merger on the other hand, while acquisition on the other hand is the process by which one company acquire another or a portion of its assets. In other words, it's a corporate action in one company buys another company. The acquired company ceases to exist as a separate entity. The acquiring company typically pays a premium price for the acquiring company, which intend to compensate the acquired company shareholders for the giving up their ownership in the company. Acquisition could be strategic or financial. In the strategic acquisition, the acquiring company is interested in targeting company's business operation and seek enhance its own operation through acquisition. In a financial acquisition, the acquiring company is primarily interested in target company's assets, seek to generate a returns on investment through acquisition. So the primary aim of any businessman who acquire a company is to make profit. And make it profit irrespective and make it profit and also reduce the costs. And to reduce costs, be it operational asset-wise, be it financial, there are costs that need to be cut, and who are the people who are majorly generating cost, who are a consumer of cost? They are employees, and that means the certain employees they will optimize their processes, and certain of employees have to let go. And in the process of optimizing the process of that person who acquired the company who acquired the other company, there will be duplication of responsibility. So we look at ownership change. When I'm talking about ownership change don't necessarily mean that someone have acquired. There could be a company who still want to move to the next level, and in so doing, you have to do a major restructuring. And in doing a major restructuring, people will be affected, employees will be affected, people who are not prepared, employees that are not ready to move to where the dream of the owner of that company is moving to. So they will become a crew in a wheel of progress. And when such people, the employer have discovered that some people are dragging them behind, they can't meet their vision of where they want to go. Those people will be a layoff. Ownership change refers to a transfer of ownership of a company from one entity to another. This can occur through various means such as merger, acquisition, or buyout. Ownership change can have a significant impact on the company structure, culture, and operation. For example, new owners may bring in new management change, the company's strategic direction, or business focus. Mind you, when there are people, when there are mergers, when there are ownership change, they are bringing in their different culture, which might necessarily what a former employee will be used to. Their cultural change, the people have to not adapt to those changes to be able to fit in to where the owner of that company is, the vision of that company. We said organizational restructuring, on the other hand, refers to deliberate and planned process of changing the company's structure, processes, or culture. This may involve changes to the company's hierarchy, job roles and responsibility, reporting line, business unit. Organizational restructuring can be driven by various factors, such as change in the market environment, cost-cutting measure, or desire to streamline operation. Recently, there was a news I heard from one of the telecom companies saying that their division that were not profitable, that they will be closed down. And it's not just peculiar to them alone, world over. Most companies, what they do when they discover that those sections of their companies are not profitable, they close down those divisions to be able to focus on where they can really be impactful, where they can be effective and also make profit. So when you close such divisions that are not productive, what happens? Because there will be a realignment and a structure of the company's reporting line functions, people will be affected, and it's a given that people will be affected, and as such, people will be laid off. So now, I once worked with a company that I met a man who have worked with that company for 27 good years, a private sector company. And the company was 30 years. It means that the company was, when that company was 33 years, that was when he joined it. And as a matter of fact, the one of the executive directors, when he was a child, it was not, has not been given, because that child, him then was, last year was 26 years. He joined that company even before the child was given birth to, and that has risen to executive director, and he's still in that company. If there is a major change tomorrow or today, that man will not be able to fit in, because the skills he has been deploying for the past 27 years will no longer be required. He cannot run pace with the technology that will be deployed. So what do employees need to do to be able to fit into organizational restructuring? It's not just peculiar to people who are in operation alone. You know, there's the human nature. When you get to a certain place and you have spent that long, you feel redundant. You don't longer take it serious to upgrade or to upskill yourself. And people who are not upskilled, when restructures happens, those people cannot fit in, either cultural wise, other educational wise, either technology wise, either skill wise. Attitude to perform in the job will no longer be there, because people are bringing in new ideas, and their idea is still obsolete. They cannot keep in touch. They cannot keep in pace with what the person who had that organizational restructuring, who is bringing that organizational restructuring idea in, they are not fit in, because their skill is obsolete. So what do employees need to do to ensure that their skills are required even when there is a major restructuring and ownership change? What is my concern? Why should I even bother me in the first place? That is, there will be a restructure, or there will be a merger, or there will be an acquisition. Why should an employee be bothered? After all, that shouldn't be their concern. But in this very one, we are going to be looking at it, we see why employee needs to prepare and why they should be bothered where there is a major merger, acquisition, and organizational ownership change or organizational restructuring. So we start with a case study. Once upon a time, two rival companies, Okeke Enterprise and Adiola Incorporated, were competing fiercely in the same industry. Both companies had their strengths and weaknesses, but they were determined to come out on top. One day, the CEO of Okeke Enterprise, Jane, approached the CEO of Adiola Incorporated, John, with a bold proposal. She suggested that the two companies merge and combine their resources to become a stronger competitors in the market. John specialized at first, especially Certico at first, but after several rounds of negotiation and due diligence, the two companies agreed to merge. The merger was a complex process that involved legal, financial, and operational consideration. Both companies have to work closely with lawyers, accountants, and consultants to ensure that the merger will be legally sound and financially viable. They also had to plan for the integration of their respective teams and operations, which was no small task. As the merger process unfolded, tension ran high among the employees of both companies. Many were uncertain about their job security and the future direction of the newly merged company. This case study, there are two things that happen here that we are going to be looking at in the next slide. When, for instance, a bank, we all are aware of the story of Diamond Bank and Access Bank, how they merged and became Diamond Access. If, for instance, Diamond Bank has the same branch on the same street with Access Bank, definitely the one branch will be closed. And when that one branch closes, the employees there will move to that same the other branch in the same street. However, that's where realignment will now begin to comes in, whether that people's skills are required to be in that the same branch operating in that same street. And mind you, when this merger happens, there are many things that are need to be considered. One, the employer, the company that is merging, their basic thing is to do what? Is to make resources, is to make money available for investment and for the interest of the shareholders and to make shareholders happy. So if the shareholders, the returns are not there, it becomes an issue. So for that not to happen, for the shareholder to begin to continue to smile, the one branch has to be closed and people have to be let go. So in this case, in the first instance, somebody might propose to the company that I had interest in to invest in. And when that investment is taking place, when that merger is taking place, when acquisition is taking place or ownership change, as it were, people and financial considerations are being put in place. And when those considerations are put in place, people's interests will also have to be maintained. There are certain people, whether we like it or not, that cannot be affected by being when a company is merged or when a company is acquired. People who have the required skills, they are top performers, their skills are required. And as such, before any company let that go, the company have to consider, because no company want to merge and in the next 2 or 3 months, the company is already having troubles. Though they have to now begin to streamline who have the required skill to move to the next level. That is why as an employee, we must constantly, whether mergers take place or not, we should continually upskill our skills, relearn. Let us not be too much comfortable with where we are, thinking we are good at this particular point. No, we should continue to do what? Upskills and upgrade ourselves. For operational synergy is an important consideration of companies merging, acquiring, ownership change, and restructuring organizations. Because they combine resources and expertise, company creates stronger, more competitive entity that is better equipped to succeed in a fast-paced business environment. However, when mergers, acquisition, ownership change, and organizational restructuring is to optimize resources and revenue increase, in most cases, cost reduction is one of the major considerations during this process. Duplication of functions, roles, and responsibilities is handled by employees of these companies will be streamlined, and as such, many will be eliminated, and people lose their job. It's never the wishes of any major company to let people go. However, they also have interest to protect. Every businessman is not a government that is probably set up in ministries, industry of the same people performing the same job role responsibility and functions, and yet they are being paid for. No, every businessman that is acquiring a company or where there is ownership change, they want to see value for their investment. So, and as such, they won't want to duplicate their functions. They won't want somebody, for instance, a sister company that was a former company that was, like for instance, for telecom, for MTN and Gro, for instance, when they merge or there is an acquisition, MTN will not want to keep the same software engineers, will not want to keep the same network engineers, we don't want to keep the same ringers, we don't also want to keep the same VSAT engineers, for instance. So one person, you have to choose who and who is capable. You have to choose who have the required skill to drive where you want to go. Definitely, it's not a charity organization. And as such, because he want to recoup his investments, you want to increase his revenue, and you want to reduce costs. And because it's not a charity organization, people who are redundant, who are performing duplicate functions will be let go. So basically for operational synergy, people will be affected. The duplication will not be allowed. Duplication will not be permitted because every businessman wants to make profit. So for financial synergy, for instance, they put more resources together. They will be going to go into different markets, expand their riches, their product line, and all that. But the one that concerns employee most is for the operational synergy. When there is operational synergy, and one of the things we must know when there is merger and acquisition, one of the things that they consider most is operational synergy, because they want to reduce costs. They want to reduce costs and also increase their revenue. So the next one is the big question. What is the big question? Why should I prepare for mergers, acquisition, ownership change, and organizational restructuring? Why should I prepare as an employee? As a matter of fact, I have no stake, and whoever acquired the company, I have no stake of whoever merges with the company. Why should I be prepared as an employee? Why should I be bothered that somebody wants to acquire a company, for instance? Why should I build my consign as an employee? So that's what we'll be looking at. He said, for job security, you should be consigned. During the merger process, you should be informed. You should keep up to date with the merger process. He said, for job security, a merger or acquisition can create uncertainty about job loss, job roles, and responsibilities. Employees should be prepared for potential change in job functions and the possibility of layoff. Preparation can be enhanced to understand what to expect and reduce anxiety about job security. So why should employees be bothered? It should be bothered because there will be for job security. Because one of the things apart from when mergers take place and acquisition is to streamline their processes. And streamlining their processes means that they will have fewer employees, and those fewer employees will be doing the job of 2 people, for instance. One person will be doing the job of 2 people, and the job of 10 people, for instance, 5 people will be the one to be doing it. So in that process, there is no guarantee for job security because the processes will be streamlined. So the employee himself or herself should be aware of this. They should be aware of this to reduce wealth, anxiety within, also to reduce blood pressure. During this process, there are many people who will be hospitalized because they were caught unaware, because they were not prepared as an employee. So when you hear in your industry there is a merger or there is about to happen, there's an acquisition about to happen, learn to be aware in every detail. Get to be informed of what the process, because when you are informed, you'll be able to know how to prepare yourself for eventuality. Also, what you should be concerned is that there will be cultural differences company A have a different culture, different from company B, and they are coming together to merge. There will be cultural confusion. So as a person, you must be able to know that there will be cultural difference and be able to learn how to relate with people of different background. If you are the kind of person, for instance, who was comfortable relating with just one person with one culture, from one cultural background, and now you are operating, having a company coming to merge or to acquire your company, a multinational, for instance, definitely there will be diversity. There will be people from different culture. There will be people from different religion, different background, different perspective, different from yours. So you need to put this into consideration to know that how you will be able to fit into their cultural differences. And because of this, many people are not able to fit into cultural differences. When there is merger or acquisition, that also becomes an issue, and it affects their performance. When people think that it doesn't matter for me to be able to understand the culture of another person who will become a team member, you will not be able to relate with that person effectively. And the person who will be the one to make sure your job is done effectively, because you cannot relate with that person effectively because of the cultural differences, there will be an issue, and that will affect your performance. So you must be aware. You should be concerned about the cultural differences. Also, you should also be concerned as an employee about the new policies and procedures that will be coming up. You are familiar with one particular SOP, or you are aware of the organizational policies that are in place. But another company is coming in with bringing in its own policies and another procedure that you are totally not familiar with. So as an employee, you must be aware of this, that there will be changes in this acquisition that will take place, in this mergers, organizational restructure, and ownership that will take place. There will be cultural new policy procedure. There will be new policy that will be adopted, and I'm not even familiar with you. For instance, there are some companies that derive joy in that, which is not bad, that in their policies that you have a prayer session in the morning. And maybe your company where you were before the merger took place, that was not part of your policy to do morning prayer. But that person will struggle in that area because is not aware of the new policy of the other person. So when the acquisition or merger is taking place, try to know the policy of the person coming in, or the parent company that has the higher stake in purchasing the company that you are, their procedures and policies, so that you will familiarize yourself with their policies. And said the new company may have different policies and procedures, which are quite different, either companies prior to the merger and acquisition. Employees should be prepared to learn and adapt to new processes and procedures. Another thing, there will be new leadership. There will be new reporting line. There will be there will be new leadership in mergers, in acquisition and ownership, major ownerships and restructuring. The job function might change. And if you are the kind of person who before now you are familiar with the leadership style of your leader, of your boss was good, and you are now made to work with somebody who is very temperamental, you have to adjust. You have to learn how to deal with such person, how to relate with such person who is very temperamental, who is your boss. So there will be new leadership. Don't be say, oh, I can't work with certain people, I can't learn. That's why you must be adaptable. You must learn new things. You must learn how to relate with people. There must be emotional intelligence put in place for you to be able to know that when a new leader comes, there are different things that the leader will initiate. Why majority people don't really fit in where there is merger, where there is major restructure and ownership change, where there is acquisition, is because they are not able to relate with the other side or the other person who are coming in new. That's why you hear story, this is how we do it here. This now how my former boss was doing it. Yes, your former boss was not doing that way, but there's a new leadership that is in place, that you want his job to be done the way you want it. So you must learn to fit into the new leadership. Is that in the merger or acquisition company may have a different leadership that either of the company prior to the merger. Employees should be prepared to work with the new managers and leaders, understand their expectation. Expectation is very important. If you don't know the expectation of your leader, your new leadership, you will not be able to optimize or be able to perform effectively, you'll be underutilized. The expectation of your new leadership is A, and what you are doing is B. There's no how you fit in. There's no how you'll be active. And maybe you were a top performer in your former company because there's a misalignment of understanding or expectation. You will be underperforming, and before you know it, people will be say, "Oh, this person is not good enough to be in this company," and but because the expectation is not known, so that's why it's good when a new leadership comes in. Understand the expectation. Don't do it your own way. Don't just say, "Oh, I want to do it this the way we have been doing it for donkey years, so it has worked." Maybe when this new leadership comes in, this I'm still going to do it. No, know the expectation of the captain of the ship. Know where the leadership of the company, of the new company, you want to drive the companies to before you can fit in or bring in your ideas. He said there will be new opportunity as well. Not as it's not all bad when there's mergers or leader acquisition, because that merger will also create opportunity for the employee as well. A merger or acquisition can also create new opportunities for employees, such as expand roles and responsibility. If your vision as an employee before now is to have more responsibility and also to develop your capacity as an employee, merger and acquisition, restructuring offer such opportunities. So be open-minded. You might be lucky. If you are open-minded and you are prepared, the new opportunity will come to you. And when that new opportunity comes, is for your own benefit, is for you to grow. And there is different interaction, there is different relations that take place when you are managing one person, for instance. And when you are managing 5 or 6 persons, the interaction will be different, the expectation will be different. And your capacity as a person will also need to be upgraded to that level that you'll be able to manage a larger team. So that offers a great opportunity for you to be able to manage people and also for you to carry out a higher job with a higher capacity and responsibility. So merger offer you opportunity. For instance, if you are in a company A before the merger took place and there is a new opportunity that says, okay, you will be promoted to take social responsibility that you were not handling before now, that also gives you the opportunity to develop yourself, to upskill yourself so they can meet that expectation of the new opportunity that I've shown forth. So it gives opportunity to expand roles and responsibilities, access to new technology, and potential for career advancement. Preparing for a merger can help employees understand this opportunity and how to take advantage of them. So the question is this: how can you take advantage of merger acquisition, ownership change, and major restructuring, organizational restructuring when you are not even prepared? So you need to be prepared for you to maximize this opportunity. They said opportunity come to those who are prepared. When opportunity comes to those who are prepared, what happens? Success happens. So if you are not prepared, when opportunity comes, because you are not prepared, you cannot recognize it. And even if you are recognized, you don't have the required skill to perform in that capacity. So that opportunity will leave you by. So it's very important as mergers take place, as acquisition, major ownership or restructuring take place, there is going to be a new opportunity. You must be prepared, not because of you want opportunity, for instance. It's the responsibility of anybody who have a dream, a higher dream of where he knows where he or she is going, to prepare at always, because you can never know. You will never know who is going to be that cupbearer that will announce Joseph to Potiphar. So it's very important that we announce Joseph to Pharaoh. So it's very important. You can never, when you think, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm comfortable here, I don't expect new things to come in. But when you are not prepared, the Joseph will come, the cupbearer will come, and will not be able to announce you to the king, to your new advancement. So it's very important. So as an employee, there are several things that you can do to optimize mergers, acquisition, ownership change, and organizational restructuring. What are the things we need to do? Stay informed. Number one is that you stay informed. Stay up to date with any changes or updates related to the ownership change or Organizational restructuring. Attend meetings and ask questions to clarify any doubt or concerns you may have. Don't assume, oh, ownership is taking place. We are under a contract. Go fair enough, the person will say, oh, we are going to continue with the contract of the old employee we are merging with. But don't just assume the benefits we are enjoying in the former company, you might necessarily be getting those benefits. When it's time for meeting, attend those meetings. Seek for clarification. What is in for me as an employee? What will I gain for this restructuring? What will I gain for this merger? In this acquisition, what is my benefit? Will my contract be honored or will it be terminated? So working as social is wrong. You must stay informed. Attend meetings. Don't say is for them. It's people that are serious. It's people that will be affected. That is the meeting for them. Who knows? Your presence is needed in that meeting. Your contribution will be valuable. So it's important you attend such meeting and participate in a major meeting. Be flexible. Be prepared to adapt to new processes, procedures, and job responsibilities as the organizational order goes changes. Show willingness to learn and be open to new ideas. Don't be closed-minded. Don't say, oh, this is how we are doing it. If we are using typewriter before now, there will not be need for me to use a computer. I still have after all, I can still type fast. After all, I can still type a document and it will be printed and readable. But it would have gone beyond the level of a typewriter. If you are not flexible enough, you cannot learn from others. If you are not flexible enough, you cannot acquire the new skills that will be needed in that new organization. If you're not flexible enough, you will not be able to relate with people. You will not be able to adapt to new culture. You will not be able to adapt to new language. You will not be able to adapt to new perspective. Don't work in the perspective, oh, this is how we have been doing. Because of that, I will focus on what I might, once I'm doing my job, I will be paid for it. Mind you, the employer is not just paying you for doing your job. They are paying you because you are adding value to their business. So if you are not flexible enough to acquire the skill to add business, to add value to their business, you become obsolete. You will not be needed. So the next one is focus on teamwork. Learn to collaborate. If you are the kind of person in your former company, you work alone, you're in one-man department. You can easily do whatever you are doing, everything alone, because of that, you are not open to collaboration or teamwork. You are not working with people or reporting to anybody. You report directly to the CEO, for instance. And now there are levels of reporting line. You have to report to somebody reporting to somebody reporting to now the final, whether the MD or CEO. So you are not used to that. Before now, you could just bypass those processes and go straight to get approval for just CEO or MD, for instance. But because now there is ownership change, there is major restructuring, and the structures are being put in place. Different reporting line layers are being put in the organogram that you no longer have to go directly to the top. You have to pass through those methods or through those processes to get to approval. If you are not familiar with that, you're not used to that, you'll be frustrated. Frustration will come in. So you have to focus on how to now relate with people, work with team members to get your project done or to get your work done. So it's important. Collaborate and teamwork are crucial during times of change. So as I said, change is inevitable. Change is the constant thing. Change is the only thing that happens every second. So for a change to take place, meaning as the workplace is changing, the employee as well must be flexible, must learn to work with team members. We know that after all, my team will increase, or my team strengths will be increased, different from what I was used to. So you must learn how to collaborate with people and to work with people as well. Work with your colleagues to identify opportunities to improve and streamline processes and support each other as you navigate the changes. So if you see any company that places premium on teamwork, that company will achieve great things. So it's important as an employee who is not used to working in team work to begin to adopt soft skills of working or relating with people, interpersonal skills. If you need to learn how to gain more knowledge on interpersonal skills, relationship management, go and acquire those skills so that you'll be effective in a team. It will be bad that you are in a team meeting and they are asking for your contribution or collaboration of things that are brought to your table. They have not been done because you have not used to relating with people, or you are not used to carry out work with certain people. For project, for instance, when the project is carried out, there is initial stage where the project have to be done, and from one point to another, when that initial stage is completed, we have to move to another level, and there will be a different person that will be in charge of managing that project at that level. So if you get to your point, because you are not used to managing, working in a team, what happened? The work will be stuck on your table, will be stuck on your desk because they expected you to have done your job and move it to the next team. But because if you are just, oh, I love working in silo, I've been managing working alone, you will not be effective with that team and you become a problem to that team. Embrace new leadership. What do you need to do to be effective? Learn to embrace new leadership. New leadership or leadership may bring different perspective or strategy to the organization. Be open to new ideas and ways of doing things, and work to build a positive and productive relationship with others. Take ownership of your role. Let it be without you, nothing can be done. In as much we realize nobody is irreplaceable, we also know that there are people that are valuable in each company. That's why, as an employee who is prepared, what you must do to prepare for eventuality of merger, acquisition, or major restructuring, you must take ownership of the role. Let people know, not eye service, let people know that indeed you are performing, you are adding value to the organization. Let people know without you, many things will suffer in the company. Let people know that you actually have the value that you are giving to the company and the skills to perform such responsibility. You actually have it. It's an ownership change and organizational restructuring can create opportunities for employees to take on new responsibilities and roles. Identify area where you can contribute and take ownership of your role to demonstrate your value to the organization. Demonstrating your value is not that you are showing eye service. I know there are some person who will say, is he only the person here? Is she the only person in this organization? Why is it that she only want to show off? Why is it that she's the only one to everything you bring to his desk? Always want to correct everything. It pays attention to details, to the minor things that you might think is not necessary. We will see point it out to you. Let us see. Someone who doesn't take ownership of his job will do an advisor's job. He doesn't care. But you who knows why you are being paid, who knows the contribution you are putting in, or you are making the companies productive, attention to this matters. You must add value to the company. You must let the company knows, because actually that is your expectation. The company is not a charity organization. That is the expectation that they expected you to add value to the company. So in adding value to that company, you must do your job. You must take ownership of your job. Don't be in an organization where in a role that even when you are not around, people don't miss you. Even when you are around, people don't miss you. So you have no use. They are just managing you. And that's why you begin to see gossip. Oh, we are just managing this person. He has nothing to offer. Don't be an employee that the organization is just managing. Be an employee in that organization. You are adding value to that organization. So become indispensable to the point that the people are not just managing you. They become so valuable in the market that even when in the same company you are, when you are taking ownership of your responsibility, behind you, what they say good things about you. They might not actually come to you and say, oh, this person is doing this. But behind you, when it matters most, somebody will speak on your behalf. The reason to win a battle is usually behind. The reason why most employees lose in the workplace is because there is no voice to speak for them behind. But you know what? What speaks for you in the open is what you do, your responsibility you perform, how you relate with people, how you work in a team. And when it now matters most for somebody to speak for you on your behalf, when you cannot go, someone will speak to you on the value you are adding. However, when you are not adding value to that company, the same person who will have speak on your behalf or declare your interest behind you will be the same person that will tell you, the management, as oh, this person is doing nothing. We are just managing this person. We are wasting our money. Let's look for replacements. Don't become that employee. Be an employee that even in the secret behind you, somebody will speak good about you. It's a keep positive attitude. Keep positive attitude. When there is mergers, acquisition, major restructuring, ownership change, don't say, I would die for this company. I don't want to die for anybody. How much are they even paying me? That is a wrong mindset. They might not be paying you right in your former company, but there is a great opportunity for you to earn a better negotiation, a better benefit, a better salary where there is an acquisition, a major restructuring by your attitude alone. Don't be an employee who does it when they stroll in to work, whether it's 9 p.m., 8 p.m., 11 p.m., they don't care. In as much as they have clocked in, they expect to receive their salary. Don't be that kind of employee. Nobody will want to have somebody who is not punctual. Nobody will want to have somebody who is not having value to their company. I know someone first will say, punctuality doesn't matter. It's what the actual work you do. Punctuality sometimes matters. There are some responsibilities that punctuality matters. For instance, if you're a technical engineer, for instance, or a mechanical engineer, and you're employed to set up a plant that powers the whole complex or that powers the tower, for instance, and you slow in, there was power cut. Because you are not on your duty post, your building will be in darkness, and that is going to affect the other people because they reach a chain reaction. It's going to affect other people's input. It's going to affect other people carry out their job, especially when their processes are beyond demand, are being digitalized. Their processes are being moved to digital platform. They can't perform in manual processes any longer because their means of carrying out their job has been greatly affected by the inefficiency of somebody else who is not doing this job. So don't be the person who just slow in. It doesn't matter anytime I come into work, especially when you are in that kind of industry. So it matters a lot, our attitudes, because our attitude will determine our input, and our input will determine our output. Don't be somebody who's just garbage, because whatever you give him, there's going to be a required output. If you put in a certain attitude of not coming in on time, not doing your job well, it's going to tell on your deliverables. Nobody is going to say, oh, when it's time for appraisal or when it's time for performance review, nobody is going to wish out you because people are going to actually judge you based on your attitude to work, based on your responsibility. It's like change can be challenging, but maintaining a positive attitude can help make the transition smoother for you and your colleagues. Focus on the potential benefits of ownership change and organizational restructuring, and stay optimistic about the future of the organization. What is in for me as this organization is coming in, or you have not been getting the right benefit? Yeah, be optimistic. Have a positive mindset. As this new management is coming in, I'll be a top performer. I've known people who have, because by the virtue of their company will be acquired, their mindset will totally change, and their perspective of deliverable change, and they made up their mind that will become a top performer. They will refuse to be among those who will not be recognized in that company. So major restructuring, acquisition or merger can bring a positive mindset, can change, have a positive reaction in the mind of people to become better. For the fact that you were not a top performer in your former company before it was acquired or before it was merged, doesn't necessarily mean when the new management comes in, you will not be able to do better. That is why you see some certain persons, from certain footballers, for instance, when they go to a particular football club, they will not be, they will necessarily not be a top performer. But when they go to a new club, they will pay because of the system that is in place, because they have made up their mind to be better than what they have done. You see that they become the top performer. So that could provide opportunity for anybody who doesn't have who was not a top performer, who doesn't have the a positive attitude before the company was merged. Acquisition or merger could offer them that opportunity to change their perspective, to change their mindset, to have the required skills to perform their job in a competent manner. It could be that in their former company, they were not provided those skills to perform their job. The new management comes in, they provided the required skills, boom, they become a top performer in the industry. So it's an opportunity for employee where there is a merger. It's an opportunity also where there's an acquisition. There's an opportunity where also there's a major restructuring. However, if you don't have the right mindset to fit into this opportunity, it will be very difficult to be able to be valuable to that company. Stay informed, be flexible, focus on teamwork, embracing new leadership, taking ownership of your role, and keeping positive attitude. You can optimize ownership change, organizational restructuring as an employee. So, in summary of everything we have been talking about today, is opportunity always available for those who are prepared. Continuous learning is essential to stay ahead of the curve in rapidly changing work environments. Technology is transforming the way we work, and essentially to embrace this to stay competitive. Stay current with new software and tools that can improve your productivity and efficiency. The importance of networking is crucial for building professional relationships, and stay informed about job opportunity. Attend industry events, join professional organizations, and connect with colleagues on social medias. So okay. For opportunity always is always available for those who are prepared. So to maximize this opportunity, you must continuously learn. Don't be the skills you have when you started your career, the same skill you are still deploying to do your job. That job has become so routine to you that it's no longer challenging. That is why you see many employees will spend years in a certain role for many years. They have been doing that job for years. It's no longer challenging to them. But mind you, where there is a major restructuring, where there's an acquisition, where there's a merger, for instance, the people, because they are not adapted, they are not used to learning new things, it becomes very difficult for them to fit in. So don't be that employee. Learn new things, stay updated, join professional bodies, join people, HR mentorship as learning series platform is a good example. It's a platform you can join to gain network, to gain knowledge. Join professional body like CIPM and others if you must be current with what happened in the industry. Learn new skills. If you, as for instance, an accounting student employee, an accountant who doesn't know how to use Sage, for instance, it will find it difficult to fit into an organization where there is a major restructuring and that organization is moving digitally. And one of the digital platforms they want to move to is to adopt using of Sage. So if such an accountant doesn't have that skills, it will be very difficult for that person to function in that capacity. So before that happens, get new knowledge about technology that can enhance your job, that can make your job easier. The beautiful part of technology be deployed to work is for us to do our job effectively. Maybe, who knows, if there is no tractor, if there was no invention of tractor, for instance, people would have still be doing their job in the store age. The farmer would have still be going to farm. The hectares that probably would have taken some hours or some minutes to do, to cultivate, it will take numbers of days. But if somebody who's afraid to adopt technology because he's afraid there will be a loss of job, that person is not ready yet. Technology have come to stay. As HR practitioner, for instance, we must acquit ourselves with the trade of technology that are available in the industry for us to do our job. Don't be the person who, a practitioner, when a new structure comes in, you don't even have the required skill to use technology, or you don't have the required skill to function in that capacity, because what we are used to is doing their job manually. I'm still aware there are some organizations right now that are still doing manual computation on payroll or manual payroll using Excel. Those people have not actually optimized their process where there are software that can perform such job seamlessly. If, for instance, as a HR practitioner, you are used to preparing payroll with an Excel, what happens when whether it's a restructuring and the payroll software are adopted, for instance, for payrolls, you will not be able to use it because you don't have that skill. So it's important for us to acquire new skills, attend events, network, join professional body, network with your people, your fellow colleagues on social medias. For this, I want to bring this to close. I want to thank everyone for joining this session. Thank you very much. Now, we hand over to Mr. Oluyemi. If we have question, contribution, remark, we are free to do that. Before I do that, I want to thank you also. You can follow Mr. Oluyemi on Twitter and Instagram as the tallest Ninja, and Facebook and LinkedIn at Oluyemi Adeoshu. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn at Anthony Agbayeka. I'll be glad to connect with you as well. Mr. Oluyemi, over to you. Hello, Mr. Oluyemi.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Anthony. I think Mr. Oluyemi is currently having a network issue. So thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for anchoring this event, this webinar for tonight. Thank you. So just in case we have questions, please let's drop it in the chat box. And if you want to ask a live question, please kindly indicate so that we can enable you to ask your question. So in the time being, Mr. Anthony, please you can also go through the chat just in case we have any members asking questions. Please, if you have questions, let's ask. Before we let Mr. Anthony go, because I may not be able to ask this question, please let's drop the question. If you want to ask live question as well, please kindly indicate.
Yeah, Lusana is asking, can we have access to this recording? Yes, obviously, we have handled Mr. Oluyemi has a YouTube channel where you upload the session after each webinar. So you can do well to follow him on YouTube as Tallest Ninja. So also as Oluyemi Adeoshu, you can subscribe to his channel, and the webinar will be uploaded after this session.
Thank you. Okay, if we don't have any questions, so I think we have to call it a night. Once again, Mr. Anthony, thank you so much for this enlightenment. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure. You're welcome.
All right. I hope we can call again to get an answer.
Sure.
All right. Okay, I think Mr. Adeoshin is back. So Mr. Adeoshin, please kindly take over.